Hello, I'm Luna, an astrologer and tarot reader of over 8 years, and today we're going to be taking a look at Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez's composite chart. So the composite chart in astrology tells us about the destiny of the relationship, what this relationship is really about, where the relationship will lead. This is also a really good chart to look at for marriage. So if you want to know what your marriage is going to be like with someone, the composite chart is really helpful in not just seeing the day-to-day push and pull, which is more like synastry, do we get along? The composite chart tells you more about your destiny as a couple together, what you're accomplishing together, and what the nature of this relationship will be in the long run, how you guys will handle your money, your relationship, your home life, all that kind of jazz. So these two never ended up married, but the composite chart will always just tell you the fate of the connection and why it's in each other's life, so on and so forth. And so I thought it would be great to look at this composite chart to see why they were in each other's life and what this relationship was really about for them. And if you would like your own personalized reading, you can head on over to my store. The link is in the description below. I'm currently doing 25% off until the end of September in honor of this past eclipse season. So make sure to book that before the sale ends. So let's get into it. So they have a Libra ascendant together. So the rising sun in the composite chart tells you a lot about the face of the relationship. How do these two come off? How do people, if you were to see them in a restaurant together, what would you think of the couple together? And it also tells you a lot about the overall life direction of these two together. Libra on the ascendant means that this is a relationship that is about being in a relationship. That means that the overall theme of this connection is learning to harmonize, learning to complement each other, learning to work together. It's about balancing extremes. As a couple, they were a good-looking couple, right? So if you saw them walk into a room, people would think, "Wow, what an attractive couple! They look good together," right? And that really played a really big role in how much people love Justin and Selena together, and why people to this day want them together. Libra on the ascendant just means that they look like they go well together. They look like they should be together. They look good together. People project an air of beauty, harmony, and they just seem right? They also have this Jupiter in Libra in the first house, which adds to this adoration of the couple. It means that when they walk into a room, their nature together seems very balanced. Jupiter in Libra is great for seemingly being very generous with each other, being very focused on each other. When they're out in the world together, they only have eyes for each other. There's this sense of mutual awareness and reciprocity that's going on at the face of the connection. Jupiter in the first house is also a big one for a couple that just seems to have found the one, right? Jupiter is abundance, and it's growth, and it's compassion as well. And when you have Jupiter in the first house, it means a couple that's larger than life, a couple that people are just they can't help but look at them or feel like they belong together. The face of the relationship becomes even bigger than the individuals. Jupiter in the first house also means that this is a relationship that was teaching them a lot about how to grow within partnership, and what it means to be generous with each other. Now, the ascendant is ruled by Venus in their charts, so their major life themes together, we have Venus in Taurus it's not in Taurus, it's at 0 degrees of Gemini, in the 8th house. So Venus in Gemini indicates that their relationship is one where they really, really got along in terms of their mental, the way that they joke around with each other, the way that they were witty with each other. There was a sense of playfulness in the relationship that was what brought them together initially, but it's still in the 8th house. So the 8th house adds darker themes here. It adds more intimate themes into the connection. And so there's a sense of the relationship initially being a place of playfulness and fun, and you really get me, and then it could kind of become a little more codependent or even trauma bonded when you have Venus in the 8th house. There could be like especially with Gemini has a lot to do with youthfulness, and they met when they were really young. Gemini rules things like grade school and high school. So there is an air of like high school sweethearts kind of vibe here. And in the 8th house, though, it's like that, the one that got away, the first girl that broke your heart. It's very that. Venus in the 8th house in Gemini brings a sense of like childhood love or youthful love. And with Libra on the ascendant, it really adds a sense of like, this is a relationship that taught them about relationships. So even if they dated other people before each other, this is like the first time that they ever really fell in love, or that they really learned what love is. Venus in Gemini also emphasizes a sense of learning together and being students together of love and life. And the 8th house, though, brings these themes of like intensity and hardship, learning how to navigate those things together. Now, the sun in the chart is in Taurus, conjunct Mercury. So it means that the heart of the relationship was one where there was a strong staying quality. Even though these two were on and off for years, when we're dealing with the fixed signs, these people love hard, and old habits die hard, right? Especially here in the 8th house. So this is a couple where the nature of the relationship will always be to be extremely stubborn, to hold on to each other. Now, typically, I actually like to see a sun in Taurus, and she, I think, has this with Benny as well. That can bring a sense of comfort and stability to a relationship. But again, it's in the 8th house, which is a pretty intense, like, place to have the sun in a composite chart, which again, the composite chart tells you about what is the purpose of this relationship, what is the nature of the relationship, and how will they handle life together. And with Sun and Taurus in the 8th house, this is a very ride or die couple. Conjunct Mercury, this means that the relationship was never going to be surface level. When you have Mercury in the 8th house, this means that I don't really know what was going on in their lives when they were together, but the 8th house could indicate themes of death, inheritance, money, trauma. Like, they might have entered each other's life at a time where they were both battling major demons together. Now, they might have perpetuated these demons in each other, though, with Saturn square Sun. That means that the relationship maybe taught them some of the major karmic lessons or the consequences of maybe how they were handling some of the demons that they were facing in their life. These demons could have been things like, I mean, they're both artists and navigating the entertainment industry. So, maybe just we're dealing with contracts, we're dealing with maybe music contracts, we're dealing with maybe like people trying to take advantage of each other financially. So this definitely seemed to be a focus in the relationship, was like maybe leaning on each other during a time where both of them were dealing with major pressures, financial pressures, even just like the 8th house could deal with like codependency, addictions, just hard habits that are secret. So they were definitely each other's lock boxes. There was a lot going on in the relationship that was about being a rock for each other while they were dealing with chaos in other parts of their life. We also have the Sun opposing Pluto. So Sun opposite Pluto brings an intensity to the relationship, a ride or die quality. So that's really being emphasized. But the square to Saturn in Aquarius made this relationship feel extremely heavy. This is a relationship where, like I said, the composite chart is like what will always be true about these two together. It doesn't matter if they're 30, if they're 15, if they're 60. This is how they do things together. And this is the themes that being together will always bring for them. And when they're together, they will experience hardship together. They will experience heaviness together. The relationship will always feel like something that really pushes them to have to face really difficult and dark things. So again, I don't know what was going on in their life before when they were younger, but I do know that one of the last times that they were together, Selena was maybe just like recovering from her kidney transplant, and there's a lot of trauma there. So Sun opposite Pluto square Saturn in the 8th house, this is traumatic. This is a trauma bond. This is a bond where it was forged in fire. Very, very karmic relationship, 100%. Just it's written all over their chart and in their synastry. Saturn here is also here in the 5th house. The 5th house has to do with your talents, your pride, your children even. It also has to do with your creativity, and they both inspired a lot of each other's music, and a lot of their creativity. And I believe Selena has the North Node in the 5th house natally. So I do think that a big part of the relationship was the intensity of their dynamic really pushed them to take their art seriously, or really push their art to the next level. What Saturn in the 5th house is about really grinding hard when it comes to creative pursuits. Now, if they had had children together, this would have been kind of chaotic, and I don't think it would have been very great. I don't think that they would have made a particularly healthy home life, especially because they have Neptune conjunct Uranus in the 4th house. Again, if they had had children, the 5th house, having Saturn in the 5th house could indicate fertility issues, or children putting a huge burden on the relationship, exacerbating issues that were already present. It could also just mean, like, in terms of like joint projects. I don't know if they ever worked together, but with Saturn there and in the 8th house, it does feel like the relationship itself became a business and a burden. So their relationship wasn't just a them thing, it was also a creative gold mine with all the 8th house stuff. So it does seem like there was a lot of pressure in the relationship, both from their own respective lives, like maybe having pressures or trauma or financial burdens or obligations to others separately, but then as a couple together, they obviously became their own brand as well. Pluto's in the 2nd house. It means that together they're very, very powerful and capable of making a lot of money together, creating empires. And both of them really owe each other a lot of their success, because I do think a big part of Selena being Selena and Justin being Justin is Selena and Justin, and that storyline, and listening to their music to know what's going on between them. Like, their relationship became integrally tied to their stream of income and their creativity. We also have here the moon in the 10th house in Cancer. This is another huge reason why these two are so beloved, because when we look at the public facing aspects of the composite chart, which are their 1st house and their 10th house, they're really benefic. So what does this mean? Libra on the ascendant, it's Venus ruled. It's the lesser benefic in astrology. So these two look charming together, they look beautiful together, they look harmonious together. And then we have Jupiter in the 1st house, the great benefic in Libra. These two seem larger than life. When they're happy, they seem like they're the happiest people ever. When things are great, they look amazing, right? They just look really great together. They look generous, and they love each other, like they only have eyes for each other. And then when you look at the 10th house, moon in the 10th house, this is like they have an incredible ability to inspire emotions in those around them. And so I do think, them sharing how they feel about each other publicly was a major way that they express love to each other. Whether it be making music about each other, talking about each other in interviews, who knows what else they've done. Maybe they made tweets, Instagram posts, who knows. But with the moon in the 10th house, it means that the public became just as big in their relationship as their own private connection. The moon being in the 10th house as a couple for a composite chart means that they were always going to be kind of flashy. They were always going to be that couple people are talking about. They were always going to be talking about each other. Even if they weren't famous, moon in the 10th house is like, whenever Justin's around, he's always talking about Selena. And whenever Selena's around, she's always talking about Justin. And everybody knows the way that they feel about each other at any given point. If they're fighting, everybody knows what they're fighting about and why they're fighting and how they feel. It's like their relationship becomes a little bit of a public spectacle, because they both are constantly sharing and expressing their feelings in a public space. The moon is in domicile in Cancer, which means that they have an enormous well of love for each other, even though the relationship itself is really heavy. The moon in Cancer means that there's some codependency or there will always be an association of home with each other. We also have moon opposite Neptune and Uranus. This is the codependency aspect. But when you add Uranus, it's laced with instability. So this relationship is one where like they're idealistic, they're codependent. They are like, oh my gosh, he's the best person ever. She's the best person ever. And then boom, the next day it's like, they're the reason that I'm spiraling. They're the reason I can't stay stable. They're the reason I'm dissolving. And this is in the 4th house, which means the 4th house is the roots of the chart, the roots of the relationship, and what their private space really is like. What's the truth of this, of the foundation of this connection? And the truth of the foundation of this connection is that it was built on water and instability. Neptune in the 4th house is like, it's like, like what's that word? Like when you overwater a plant and they start to rot, like the roots start to rot. And with Uranus there, it's like there's also an element of unpredictability. So not only are the roots rotting, but oh, look at that, tsunami. Now there's a tornado. Now there's a hurricane. The relationship not only was kind of decaying from the inside out, like there was a lot of codependency and overwhelm, and there wasn't a really strong, sturdy structure, but there was also constant chaos going on, whether it be from them or people around them or even external circumstances. This means that if they stay together, their relationship is one that will always be plagued by instability and overwhelm in their home life. Now, this Neptune-Uranus conjunction is part of a T-square in their chart, where they have this squaring Jupiter and squaring Mars. So the square to Jupiter means that there is an inability to grow together. Jupiter in the 1st house means the relationship really pushes them to define themselves and grow as a person. So personal growth is a really big part of being together. And what this relationship is meant to do for them is to flesh out their core identities and character. However, with Neptune and Uranus, it means that the relationship forces growth through instability and through chaos. So this is a relationship where as they grow up and older and their lives change and they change, the relationship becomes more and more and more unstable. And then the squares to Mars, this is a dynamic where they're always chaotic together. Mars in the 7th house means they're always going to fight. Mars in the 7th house on its own isn't a bad placement. But when you add in all the other chaos that's going on over here, if you're going to have chaos coming from other people, if you're going to have chaos thrown at the relationship, if the relationship itself is meant to go through really challenging circumstances, then you might as well, at the very least, want to make sure that the person you're with is a really good teammate. And when you have Mars in the 7th house, it means that there is a little bit of push and pull between them. But when it's squaring Neptune and Uranus and it's opposing Jupiter and it's part of the kind of T-square between their Sun and Saturn and Pluto, they don't have each other's backs in the way that they would have needed to win. Think of it like trying to win Survivor and like survive the conditions of the land while also fighting, ignoring each other, and hurting each other the entire time. So not only is there conflict outside, there's also conflict inside of the connection. So it would have been a relationship that runs really hot, that's really intense. Mars opposite Jupiter means that they go back and forth between I hate you and I love you. I hate you and you're my everything. I hate you and also let's get back together and let's do it right this time. Mars in Aries has a really short fuse. It means that together they are really impulsive. One day they're proposing and maybe getting married, and the next day they have blocked each other on Instagram and moved across the country and aren't talking for the next 6 months. That's kind of the Mars opposition to Jupiter, is like whatever they do it big and they do it drastic. And with the squares to Neptune and Uranus, it like bounces between being delusionally in love and also being extremely chaotic and having no direction together. They have this moon trine to Pluto. This is really the glue in this connection. They have a strong trauma bond. There's also just like a sense of, I will always love you. Like Moon Pluto is, you understand me in a way other people will never understand me. It's, you see into my soul. It's, you own a piece of my soul forever. That's kind of the Moon Pluto, like underworld vibe. You will always hold and own a piece of my heart and I will never get it back. The moon sextile to sun means that as a couple, there is a lot of love and there is a lot of compassion and there is a lot of care between them. Moon sextile to Venus also is very lovey-dovey, affectionate and sweet. So there is a little bit of this like, I really deeply love you and I really deeply care about you and you will always own a piece of my soul and I only want the best for you. But when we're together, you bring chaos into my life. You make things harder. You make me face my shadow. You make me face my demons. Life becomes harder. So being together is really hard for them. And so the overall like purpose of this connection was to kind of have them grow individually through a trial by fire in terms of learning about love and the challenges of love all through one person. So this is definitely not a surface level connection by any means. And honestly, it's kind of toxic. Again, something I said in their synastry is there's way too many malefics playing out here. They have Mars in the 7th house of marriage. They have Neptune in the house of privacy, in the house of their home, of their family, of their stability together. They have a Saturn, Pluto, Sun, T-square, right? So Saturn, Pluto, and the Sun hate each other here. They're all fighting. And then we also have a Mars, Neptune, Uranus square as well. So all of the malefics are just like going back at each other. This is a relationship that had definitely way more lows, way more downsides, way more challenges than strengths and positives, no matter how you kind of cut it. So that's what I'm seeing here for these two. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.